Tuesdays the vibe, the clock hits 8. No filters here, just talk that straight. Laugh so loud, they can shake the gate. Facebook fam always pulling their weight. We hit live, roll out the streets, we roam. Truth in the mic, we don't play clone. Real ones know this is where it's grown. No bravado, just a real top zone. No bravado, that's the code. We go live and we unload. Real talk flows, never slows. Facebook crew, that's the road. No bravado, no disguise. Tuesday nights, we energize. Truth and laughter, we baptize. Tune in fam, we're on the rise.
Good evening, No Bravado Massive. The crew is not here today. Charlene is resting. Donna's going to be joining us a little bit later. But we do have a special guest tonight. Her name's Khemi Love, and she's a rapid transformational healer and therapist. And we're going to be talking to her tonight about mother wounds. And I've even done some therapy with her, which I found to be just amazing. It definitely helped me to peel back some layers that I didn't even realize existed or were still there. And it's interesting because you go through bits and pieces in life and you think you've dealt with particular issues, and then as you go on in your journey, you realize actually there's more work to do. And this is definitely a lady who has helped me to do some of my work. So without further ado, let me add Miss Khemi Love to the stage. Hey, I don't know if you heard any of my intro. But let me add Spotlight as well. Good evening, Spotlight listeners.
Evening.
How are you? Evening, Sugar Plum. It's so good to have you here. I was explaining that I went into your therapy session with an open mind, and it's nothing like what traditional therapy is like, but I found it to be really useful, really useful, and I was glad that I did it. So it's nice to have you here. With No Bravado, it's a platform where we talk about all kinds of things. So we have a Facebook group, and we've got like 2.2k members, and they all post things in the group, and then we just debate on it. And it's interesting. It's, you know what I mean? Like everyone's got, it's a feisty group, and they've all got their own opinions. And usually the show is about looking at their topics and then giving our honest opinion, really. Today, and I want to, like, it's good to talk about things and talk about hot topics and have a laugh, but every now and then I want to have a show that will help and that will be meaningful and that, you know, you can take some sort of learning from. So hence the reason I wanted to have this conversation with you, because I do think healing and growing is very important as a human being on this journey. It's needed to evolve. It's needed to just be happier. It's needed to understand yourself. And I think in our community, we have a real issue with therapy. So I want to talk about it as much as we possibly can on this platform to encourage people to let's have some therapy. There's nothing wrong with it. If, you know, you hurt your finger, or you hurt your toes, or you bash your knee, you're going to go to the doctors to check that out. So why not your mental health? So wherever we can push that message on No Bravado, we absolutely will. So welcome, my darling.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's really joy to be here. And I have a similar sentiment in terms of the healing and growth. I live my life by it, and I think everyone would benefit from doing the same.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just jump straight in. Introduce yourself and your business.
Okay, well, my business is Khemi Love.
Yeah.
And I support women healing the mother wound, particularly the nervous system, which I'm sure we'll go into more later on and talk about the nervous system and how it is essential to healing. I use a wonderful tool called Rapid Transformational Therapy,
Right.
RTT. In there, I use hypnosis. I deal with, oh, yeah, my mind's gone blank now. So I just love the mother wound. It's personal to me.
Yeah.
I just want to say that it's nothing to do with being broken or fixing anything. It's more about the patterns that your body has learnt,
Being
uh,
broken
mainly
or
from your childhood.
fixing. It's more about the patterns that your body
Oh,
has learned, being
mainly
broken
from your
or
childhood.
fixing.
Are
Right.
you, are
More
you
about
hearing that?
the patterns
Oh,
that your body
Oh,
has learned,
hang on a minute.
some
mainly from
feedback.
childhood.
Are
Right.
you hearing that?
Yeah, I'm not sure where it's come from or why it's
Some
happening.
feedback.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. I figured it out. Yeah. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So yeah, it's about healing the body. I love to work with women. I have worked with men, but I just love to work with women
Okay.
to help them to come back to themselves, come back to their voice, come back to their expression. So that's me.
That's you. Um, Good evening to all that's watching. Um, Lucene says, Lucene, I can't pronounce the name, NGC Kobo. Luc- Please, excuse me, but it's your birthday. So happy birthday. It was mine on Saturday. So
Oh,
yes, my
happy birthday!
happy birthday, Taurus person. I don't know if you're a man or a woman, but yeah, I love today. We love that you love today. Have a great day. We hope that you're having a great day.
Oh yeah, have a wonderful day celebrating yourself.
Yeah, a birth. I'm a big birthday person. I am, so I
Yeah.
had to shout that out. Um, so yeah. All right. Next question. So you say that you like working with women more so. Why? Before we go into the next, well, it
I,
kind of is.
um,
So what drew you personally to this work, and why do you personally like working with
why
women?
women? I think because I'm a woman myself and I can relate to a lot of the things that I've had to overcome. Um, I can relate to women with what they're going through because I've been through a lot myself.
Right,
Um, and I'm sure that for me personally, women are on the forefront of the healing right now. It's us that are being woken up to doing the work on ourselves.
right,
And then, um, yes, there are men that are doing it, but it's mainly the women that are waking up now to do the healing. I'm sure that there are many healers out there that are looking after the men.
right.
But my work is with women because I can relate.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you asked me what personally drew me to the work. Okay,
Yeah.
so my name is Eve,
Right.
and that name is it's an ancient name. I'm sure everyone knows it from in the Bible.
Adam and Eve, and
Yes.
yeah.
So it actually carries energy like a frequency. And yeah, so I sat with my spirit one day,
Right.
and when I was actually in a healing session, and that's when I realized the weight to the name that I was carrying, um,
Okay.
vibrational, the energy that is on the name. I've also witnessed things in my life, like from I can remember I meet people, meet men. I tell them my name's Eve, and I just see the chameleon. They just change, and it's like they've gone on to wanting to conquer, especially conquer me as a woman. Um,
Really?
oh, listen,
Wow.
yes, yes. Yes, names carry vibration, they carry meaning, and this name is ancient, you know.
Right.
So I did struggle a lot in childhood with my name. I didn't even want to sit in my name, but I overcame that. So I sat in my name, and then one day I just I asked my spirit, what is this about this name?
Right.
And this my spirit just showed me and just opened up and showed me it's a wound. It's a wound that has traveled from virtually the first woman, this Eve, because of the
Mm.
stories that have been told about the woman and
Right.
how it shaped our society and the choices that we have as women, our
Yeah. She
voices.
gets a bad rap.
Yeah, bad rap, but it's
Yeah.
not my name. This is something that is passed from mother to mother, mother to daughter to mother to
Hmm.
daughter. And it just keeps being passed. And it's some it's to be healed. It's been woken up now to be healed. And so that's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay.
So it started by me looking at the patterns in my own life. I know you had a show, I don't know if it was recently, I was looking online and you were talking about the patterns, especially in relationships.
Yeah.
Uh, and we all have our own patterns. And a fair bunch of them, especially for women, they are stemming from the mother wound.
Interesting.
Mm.
And why do you think I do send questions, but my brain just goes all over the place. So we'll have a conversation, then it will probably to ask something else. So my interview style is not conventional. So please bear with me. But why do you think that that's not recognized in terms of the mother womb? We always go to the father. Do you think it's because the mums are more present?
Okay, it's to do, for me, I think it's to do with the upholding of the patriarchal system. Because if we were told and made known that there's a wound that would heal us, this is going to break down relationships, break down family dynamics, because the woman's voice is going to be heard. There's a
Right.
lot of dynamics where we've grown up and seen the woman lives in denial. She just can't see things that are sitting right in front of her face. She's going to
Right.
start to see. She's going to start to express her voice. She's going to start to express herself in terms of art, in terms of dancing, singing, all different types of ways. She's going
Yeah.
to express herself. Um, and you're going to see the crumbling of the patriarchal system if women start to see the mother wound and heal it. So that's why it's not spoken
Okay.
about. Yeah, because
That's
it's underpinning when a woman is unhealed, especially the mother wound, then it's underpinning this patriarchal system that is not supportive of women.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely agree with that. Hi, Lorraine. I think it's Lorraine, but it's L Law 9753. Hi, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Um, Stage. Next question. It's interesting. Was there a moment where everything just clicked for you? And if so, what
Um,
was it?
it clicked for me personally on my own journey when I realized how disconnected I was from my body, because our bodies are our um, I'm sure many of you may have heard of the law of attraction.
Yeah.
And if we're desiring things in our life, the way how we communicate those things to the universe, if that's how you see God or source, if that's what if you want to communicate those things, you actually communicate through your nervous system, your body. and you receive messages back that way via intuition. So I just realized that I was just disconnected from my body. So when my body is telling me things or making me be aware of things, I just wasn't following that guidance. So when I realized, that was the moment that clicked for me, on my own journey, reconnecting with my body. And
Okay, go on.
and to stop the process of trying to think my way out of situations. It's to more listen to that inner
Feel
guidance.
them. Okay, yeah, because it's so interesting because we are very intuitive creatures as women,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not taught how to connect to that really in growing up or in life or whatever the case may be. um how do you listen to it, you personally? I mean, I
Um,
guess everyone's got their own sort of, it's going to be different for everyone, but how, so you connected back to your body,
yeah.
and that in turn helped you to feel it, or
Yeah, because feelings, we're living in a universe that responds to our feelings.
right?
um, how we're living in a sensation place, and a lot of this stuff, be it good or bad, it's just sitting in the body, but it's what is screaming over. Certain feelings are screaming louder than others, and that's causing a disalignment. So for me, um, that for me to answer your question, to me to connect to my intuition, um, the first step was awareness that I am a woman and that I have an intuition, because everything around me, friends and family, society, is not recognizing that I've got an intuition, but it came from me saying I've got an intuition. And then just sitting down, having quiet moments with myself
Yeah.
over a period of time, and being brave enough to follow the guidance that comes. And
Okay.
even if it means that, I'm having to stay firm in my no because I've received this guidance and message. I could have been ridiculed, or people say I'm crazy. I'm sure a lot of people who know me personally probably think I am crazy, but I don't care because I'm following my intuition.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, much love to you, man. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Oh gosh, there's so much that's running through my mind at the moment. You you touched on a few things in terms of intuition. Having the bravery to follow it, it can be depicted as you being crazy.
Of
And I
course.
think that is definitely what's been put out there to keep us disconnected,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I guess it is about having the understanding of self. Um, yeah, and it's a long journey. I think going through therapy is definitely a good way of connecting to yourself or understanding yourself at the very least, anyway. Okay, next question is, what's the biggest transformation that you've seen in a client?
Um, well, just a disclaimer. I'm not giving out any medical advice. They have
Yeah,
doctors for that. I'm just speaking from an experience that I was able to witness, and I was very grateful to witness.
yeah,
Um, I think one of the biggest transformations was where I took a client to speak to their illness.
okay,
Yes, yeah. because the illness had a purpose. And I took the client back to speak to the illness. And it was just, it was mind-blowing to see the client speak to their illness and understand
why it was there,
why they manifested this illness. I know it's a lot of people who are going to struggle to get their head around that, but we manifest everything that comes into our life. We manifest it, and that does include the illnesses that we have. They're manifested. They serve a purpose.
Right.
That was amazing. And I just want to add a personal note that when we worked together,
it
was such a beautiful session that we had. It inspired me.
Okay.
To go and further myself, so I can continue to help clients like yourself. So it inspired me to go and practice Reiki. So
okay,
I just want to say thank you.
No worries. I'll be coming for my Reiki session soon.
Yeah, it was so inspiring. I was like, I just have to go further with what I'm offering for women after working with you. So I want to say thank you for
thank you. Because I definitely feel like after my session, as I was saying in the intro, there were a lot of things that I thought I dealt with that kind of popped up, and things that I didn't really look at in the same kind of way. So it just opened up my perspective. I remembered going through the session and having like certain feelings just come up, and like almost like pains in my body. And it's like, oh my God, what is happening? But it was just literally trauma just being released. The other day I done a little bit of, because following that session I've still continued to try and stay in touch with myself, and if things come up in my head, just write them out. Just write letters to situations or people or whatever, and the same pain. So I was able to recognize this is literally just trauma releasing itself from my body, but that was from having that session with you, that I was able to kind of pinpoint what that is. And it's interesting, it's just layers on top of layers. The work is never done. So, I'm in my 50s now, 51 on Saturday, and it's like, wow, you're still, I know, bless. I'm just used to being 50 and now I'm 51. I'm like, what happened and how is this happening? Do you know what I mean? How are we 51 already? But hey, but it's a very nice kind of time of life. It's definitely a time that you need to understand who you are as a person and what triggers you, what triggers you, why you move in the way you move, why you react to certain things in the way that you react to them, and to put things in place to I don't want to say like stop, but to stop the negative cycle. I think that is the right word actually, and to grow your positive cycles, or at least understand your negative cycles so that you can control them a bit better. And I found that the session with you definitely has helped me to do that. It was amazing experience. At first I was a little bit worried because I was like, hypnotherapy, what's going to happen? Am I going to lose, like, are you going to take over my brain? What does hypnotherapy mean? So explain a little bit more about that so that people understand.
So again, sorry?
Explain a little bit more about the hypnotherapy side of it.
Okay. I know hypnotherapy has got a bit of a stigma, probably because people think that you're going to lose control while you're in a hypnotic state. I could tell you to do all manner of things, like when you get up, you're going to go and write me a check for so much thousands and that kind of stuff. That's not it at all. That hypnosis is like going into a deep sleep. Sleep happens at various different levels. This one, hypnosis, takes place at the alpha brainwave state.
Right.
And when you're there, you're able to shut off your conscious mind, because your conscious mind is the mind where you're thinking, oh, let me think about this and think about that. And that thinking mind gets in the way of what's actually happening in the subconscious mind. That's where all your beliefs are, whether you feel like you're enough. Pardon?
In your subconscious is where all your beliefs are.
Yes, they're in the belief. That's where they are, in the subconscious mind. So if you think of this is the mind as one, this is the conscious mind, this is the subconscious mind, we need to put this mind to sleep using hypnosis so we can talk to this mind, because this is the one with all your beliefs. This is the one that is making all of your decisions. This is the one that's holding all your patterns. So hypnosis is a beautiful tool. You just lay down in a comfortable space. My work's done all online, and you're safe as well, because I'm a professional guide. And it's just you gone into a deep sleep. So we can have a conversation with your subconscious mind. At any moment, you can wake up. You can just get up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can get up and you have control. We're having a conversation, but you're just in a deep sleep. So that's hypnosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Hello, good evening. Oh, goodness
Your
me.
voice is gone from the weekend.
Okay, celebration. Hi.
Her birthday's one day before mine.
Oh,
So,
God.
birthday, my friend. Hey, what's
One
going
more
on?
year on them. Hey. Sorry.
Hey.
I came to do
No,
serious stuff. Sorry, kept me.
no, I know, but Khemi, Donna, Khemi.
Good to
Two
meet you,
phenomenal
Donna.
women. I sent Donna a show brief anyway, so she knows what we're talking about. We haven't really got too far into the questions because you know how my interview style is all over the place. She says one thing, I'll go off onto another. But yeah, good to have you here, Donna, because I know that you're going to add some weight and bring some real value to this conversation. So we were explaining that Eve is a rapid transformational therapist. And it's done via hypnosis. I've done a session with Eve before, and one of the things that Eve was saying, how she got into this journey, is that her name is Eve, and that name itself carries a vibrational weight, and because of biblical stories about Eve and how she was blamed for everything, leading Adam down the garden path and all the rest of it. And we've had a really interesting conversation about how she came about to come into the therapy and for healing herself from the vibration of that, and talking about intuition, realizing that she was disconnected from her body, talking about how she became connected back to her body. And then I asked a question, and it was like, why do you think that we deal with daddy wounds more than we deal with mother wounds? And what Eve said was that it's if we start dealing with mother wounds, then the patriarchal system will crumble. And I knew you'd find that interesting. So we'll carry on.
Yeah, I'm listening.
We'll carry on.
Yeah, I'm listening to that.
Do you have any questions you want to ask?
Nope. I'm here to listen
yet.
and learn. Not yet, no.
Okay. All right. So we did everyone talks about daddy issues, but what exactly is the mother wound, and why do you think it's not discussed as much? So we've answered part of that question, but what exactly in your opinion, Eve, is a mother wound?
It's a wound. It's a pattern that has been passed on from mother to daughter, and it just keeps being passed on from generation to generation. It shows up in different ways. The woman's voice, her value, how she values herself, her worthiness, whether she can stand being seen or not, the overthinking, the overexpressing, the overgiving. It shows up in many different ways, but it is a pattern, a wound. Basically, yes, pattern that's been passed on through
Right.
generations.
Okay. Next question. Can someone have a good mum and still carry a mother wound?
Yes, absolutely. It's not about blaming mums or
Right.
even labeling them or as good or labeling them as good or bad. A mother can love you deeply and still pass down the patterns she didn't even know she was carrying. She can still pass it down. So it's yeah, it's not about the blame.
Yeah.
It's less about what she did and more about what your body learned through the relationship, through the patterns that were passed on. It's what your body's learned.
Okay. So when you say what your body's learning, it's about your nervous system and how we
Yeah, we're
store up.
going back to the nervous system, because everything is the patterns they manifest in the nervous system.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Don, do you want to ask this question for me?
How does the mother wound actually show up in adult life without people realizing?
It shows up in everyday ways, second guessing yourself, shrinking yourself, not being wanting to be seen, not even knowing what you want, not going for what you want, or understanding your own desires, feeling like you have to prove your worth. A big one is finding it hard to receive. So it has an impact on the relationship that you have with your money. Um, Always putting others first, and it can feel almost normal. So you don't really question it, but these things are holding you back. The overthinking, overgiving, needing validation, external validation, especially external validation from men. Yeah, there's a multitude of ways it shows up in adult life.
Okay. Because I know for me, my mum's my homie. Oh my God, my mum's my heartbeat. Um, but I do think when you're saying like learning to like not my mum don't ask nobody for nothing. That's my mum's. So learning to receive. Sometimes people just want to do nice things for you, and I find myself like it makes it. I'm getting better with it, but it has made me uncomfortable. So
Yeah,
even with another therapist that I see, she says, sometimes people just learn to take it. But because we were brought up to not ask nobody for nothing
yeah,
and don't take nothing from nobody, it kind of blocks your blessings
yeah.
in adulthood. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Um,
yes,
Whereas I think, you know, it was done out of sheer protection and love. But the flip side of it for me is that I don't want to say sometimes if people do things you think it's too good to be true. It's not that. But if someone just out the blue wants to give me something, I'm like, why? I didn't ask for this. I don't understand why. When actually you should just be saying thank you.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So it is interesting some of our kind of beliefs and upbringing how it does affect things in adulthood and can block your blessings. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can. And just to kind of add to that, add a bit more context, you could have a mother and a daughter, and this is how it's transferred, and you don't even realize. For whatever reason, your mum has said yes to something when really and truly she should have said no. And that's kind of normalized. But you see the energy imprint, that's what you're picking up on as a child. Because when you're
Right.
born, especially when you're born, you're younger, you don't have the ability to communicate. So everything is feelings and sensations. So you'll pick that up. And
Right.
then she could do it again. Then you'll pick that one up as well. And she could do it again and you'll pick that up. Can you see the pattern? Just keep picking it up.
Right.
Until now, that's like a blueprint for you. That when you should be saying no to someone else, so you can say yes to yourself, it's the other way around. And to you, it's normal because you saw your mum doing it. But your
See?
mum is still, she still loves you, she's still got your back. She's a brilliant woman. This is not about blame. It's just that
Yeah.
in that moment, that's all your mum could do.
Yeah.
And when I say your mum, I'm not speaking personally.
Yeah.
I'm
But
talking
yeah.
generally, just giving an example. Generally, that's all
Right.
your mum could do at that time. In that moment, that's all she could do. That's her best. And a
Right.
lot of it is that's the best
That she could do at that
that she
time.
could do at that time. That's the capacity that she had. That's all the resource that she had. She had to do that in that moment.
Right.
Yeah. So it's definitely not about blame. It's just like it's your responsibility now as an adult to just address that.
Understand the patterns and
Yes.
put a stop to the patterns that no longer serve you, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Anything to add, Don?
I definitely take the point that's been made around the patterns that you, because children model what they see, right? And it's in my line of work, that's one of the things that we speak about. What is modeled and mirrored within the home by primary nurturers, which most of the time are women, or mothers in this case. So I definitely agree with that. You pick up what you see, you model what is presented, and I do take the point that every time you see it, you pick it up, and these things can form part of who you are in adult life, because these are things that you've seen modeled around you. And I think the point about well, maybe it's a question that's coming up, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it, but I'm interested in the conversation where we break the generational cycles of mother wounds, because I think that's very important and something that I've kind of worked through myself, is breaking the curses that were presented to or modeled to me,
Mm-hmm.
and that I have kind of come up against and can't work with. So we've had to kind of reset and rethink some of that modeling.
Right.
Yeah.
So to because it might come up, but we'll just skip it if it does. In terms of breaking patterns, you have to recognize them first, is basically what I think you're going to say, right, Eve?
Yeah, it's the awareness. Because I personally don't work with clients if they don't have an awareness. I might as well just go and talk to a brick wall. You have to be brave enough to see it, to open your eyes and have that honest moment and have the awareness. This is happening, and this has been happening over and over and over and over and over again, and now you are ready to break the patterns, to do something, to do the work, to face it. So
Yeah.
it is awareness. It is awareness, but I know that a lot of women find that challenging to even get to that space of awareness. It's a real, real challenge because sometimes the awareness means that it means to question her identity. She could question family dynamics, relationships. It's not easy.
I definitely, and just building on that point, I think a part that intersects well into this is also our African Afro-Caribbean heritage that doesn't really play into the girl child's favor, right? So when you're talking about recognizing patterns, we're not encouraged to recognize patterns. We
Yeah.
are we have chores, so we don't have time to sit down and recognize patterns, or at least generationally we this is not something that the girl child is kind of that wider critical thinking to pick up on things. A lot of secrecy with the older generation. You know, you find out that Uncle so and so is not really Uncle so and so. You know, not grandfather's
Uh-huh.
style. All of these things that are hidden from us, and basically upheld by the mother wound within our culture. So a lot of these secrets, the men are out here doing their thing, but it's the matriarchs in the family that uphold this level of secrecy and dysfunction, right?
Right.
And so when we're talking about recognizing patterns, to, so in my line of work, working both in the community and working with parents and whatever, right? You try to get somebody who has been conditioned both culturally,
Yes.
emotionally, spiritually,
Yes.
to not call what it is. We've all had that perverted uncle, and you know, you've gone to granny and said, I don't like the way uncle touches me, don't worry, you know, sleep with me next time. You know, nobody does anything about the things, but it's a big cover up. Trying to get those individuals, and that's just like a really brief analogy, but trying to get those individuals to recognize the patterns and the themes. You're really asking people to recognize death a lot of the time, because some of these things, when the
Yeah.
reality of it dawns on them,
Mm-hmm.
and that they themselves have then reperpetrated that onto their new generation of younger women, yo, about to be some blood pressure up in this place, because
Yeah.
we are not conditioned to look at patterns.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not. We're
Culturally,
not.
we black women are conditioned to do. We
Yeah.
are we are acts of service to the world, not just in our culture, but to the world. Black
Mm-hmm.
women, the one thing that we do pass down is that you have absolutely no value in our culture unless you can do something for someone.
Yes.
Primarily a man, then after that, any children that come. So you have zero value. Look how we talk about people in our culture, women again, who can't have children or don't want to have children.
Don't want to have
We
children.
look
Yeah.
at them like they're upside down. What do you mean you don't have
Yeah.
children? So, so this is what I'm saying. This is why I was really glad that you were coming on, sis, because for
Thank
me
you.
this is such a big topic, right? When we talk about mother wounds, let's not just look at it at an individual, personal level. Let's look at it at a collective, cultural level. Look at the huge mother wound that we have, where women are not validated. They are there as recipients of acts of service, right, or to
Mm-hmm.
perform acts of service. And
Yes.
then you're turning around and we're talking about identifying themes and patterns. My God, when you sit down with women, and I've seen this in my own kind of little small social enterprise, when we sit down, we have conversations, it can be so destroying to watch a woman realize, oh my God, what? It was like the first time, I'll give you an instance. It was the first time I realized that I was a domestic abuse victim. Shoot me down, kill me dead, dog. I remember we were doing we were doing a community conversation on domestic abuse, and I told Yvonne, Selena, and Sonia at the time, they were working with me. I tell them, say, well, boy, me can't really join in this session, you know, because me never see Danny lick down Marva. That's my father and my mum. And they looked at me like I was odd. I said, listen, I can't join in, I can't lead on this one because obviously I've never lived with domestic violence.
Right.
The way they sat me down and made me know the different categories of abuse.
Right.
When they finished with me, Trisha, sister, I was in tears
Yeah.
because I had always, to me, in my mind, women that got beat were, you know, these kind of weak women that lived over somewhere over there. But people like my mum, who I never saw got lit down, they were like, special. The realization is finding out as a child that I was a victim of domestic abuse because my father was coercive, he was verbally abhorrent, he would control with money, all these other forms of abuse. I never saw him lick my mum.
Right. That we never saw as abuse.
I never saw it, right? But all these other things, when they broke it down for me, listen, I shed tears for about a week.
Yeah.
Because I realized, it makes you reflect, right? You're like, you know what? I think I've said it on this show before. If my father was alive now, and we had the service, and I was a child now, I'm going into care. Me and my siblings would be in care without a doubt.
Right.
Because of the enormity of what we were living in. So I say all of that to say it's great that we're talking about patterns, but also let's kind of incorporate those cultural patterns that are part of our mother wound, where you would go to a matriarch, and your aunt and your grandmother and your grandaunt are only going to uphold the same things that have been passed down, because they too have been told to ignore patterns and themes, especially around abuse and sexual harm.
Yes.
And yet when you speak to Black women and you get them to a level of acknowledgement and enlightenment, they will tell you that our biggest problem is around sexual harm and abuse.
Yes. It is. A lot of us have been abused, sexually abused, manipulated, used money to manipulate, the uncountable domestic violence, emotional as well, the manipulation, the gaslighting, because and it's rife, and it is in our culture, and it is not spoken about. One of the things was, children should be seen and not heard. So you're literally witnessing. I mean, as child, I witnessed a whole different load of things, not just through what I saw, what I heard, and what I felt. Just like you were saying about the uncles, the amount of uncles that have just been allowed to abuse us because the women have had no voice. That's what I was saying, that this awareness needs to go out to heal this mother wound, to give the women back the voice, because I would say that we're in the similar generation. That generation, our parents and even grandparents, that generation, their pattern was survival. So they had to maintain those disruptive family dynamics. They became normal because they needed to survive. Mum and dad needed to stay in the house. So the behaviors became normal, or you may have needed help from the uncle to come and babysit. The behaviors then became normal. Or, the amount of stuff that is pushed under the carpet or fling in the wardrobes. It had to become normal because that was the only way that they had to survive. So now it's onto our generation. All those patterns are passed down. Now we're faced with this kind of era of mental challenges.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? There's a lot going on. And it does take a lot to be able to just have that awareness to see. I know it's not easy. I come from Jamaican parentage. It's not easy to be able to see these patterns and to stand up in the no. It has meant that, you've got to break some family dynamics, break up, friendships go. A lot of the time you're left alone. And that's the challenge. That's a lot of reason why women will just stay in denial and they just won't see it. It's happening. They're being abused. They're being beaten up. They'll give excuses and stories to explain why, the over-explaining and stuff, and just normalize that.
which
So
in turn then gets passed
I
down.
do understand, and a lot of what I've just said, I've personally gone through it as well myself. So that's why I was saying earlier on, I do prefer to work with women because I can relate. I had to go through a lot of that myself, a lot of it, and just be standing by myself and
Facts upon facts.
doing this work as well, bringing the awareness.
And do you find, sis, and this is, sorry, Trisha, I know I've come
Go
late.
for it.
I'm doing
This
typical
is why I
black.
wanted you to be on the
I'm doing
call.
I'm doing typical black church. Come late and now got questions. But yeah, but do you find, Eve, that in part of the standing alone, right, is because culturally nobody wants you to speak on these things and do the shadow work, right? And so you're then when you said stand alone, there have been many times when I have felt ethically that I am alone in this situation, but stand I must, because if I don't stand, we'll fall for everything, right? And so, and it's not the biggest amount of pressure doesn't come from men, it comes from women, and most of these women are slightly older women who say, "Leave it. Why are you going to?" I have one mum, pick up yourself, mummy parlor, who has a similar lived experience, and one of the things that she's always encouraging me is, "Girl, in a family time, nobody wouldn't talk about it. Talk it, because it's something that it's
Yeah.
killing us, and we die with it." And she's always encouraged me. But most women, older generation, will tell me, why you, because you can make, they know white people are gonna look pan we and think. There's always this living for the external reflection rather than what's going on. And so when Eve just said about standing alone, I really just wanted to pick up on that, because I don't think people appreciate what it takes to speak on these things when you are a black female in our culture and community, where nobody don't want to hear it, because of course, again, it goes back to that conditioning of, let's just avoid it. We can see that something dodgy is going over there, but if we avoid it, we'll still get money and we'll get to keep a man, and all of these things that go on around in and around this mother wound, that we then, when our daughters become of age, we shovel onto them and we say, it doesn't matter that he hits you. At least, he's a good man, Savannah. We have that type of mentality where, it's more advantageous for you to be with a half-assed man than it is to have
be
ethics
alone.
and stand alone.
Be alone. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I remember my grandmother said it's best to have half of a man than a full man.
Up to
There's
this
no
weekend. It's like on your birthday weekend, Trisha. Sorry to cut your sister Eve. And then while ringing, Donna, you turn 52 now, Donna. Donna, you must find a husband, Donna. I'm like, why? I'm out here in these streets living my best life. No, it doesn't look good. You should find him. Now, where am I going to find this man? Nobody's telling me where to find this man, but it's all of this thing about having a man, a man, and a man. I'm like, they're so dangerous. And in spaces where black matriarch rule is, like, say, let's say church, for instance, right? Where we still adhere to those structures, you have motherboard and our deacon desk board and all these things. These women have a lot of power when we talk about themes and mother wounds, because they're often the people who uphold the patriarchy and allow women to not recognize patterns and just believe in God and pray your way out of it. Like, oh, he's busting your ass, let us pray.
Yeah.
Oh, he's taken all your money and the kids have got nothing to eat, let us pray. Like, and this is something I'm working with a local bishop here in Croydon. We're naming this stuff. We're saying this is going on in church. What is church doing to support? And furthermore, we're questioning some of the leadership, especially some of the older female leadership, who just want it quietened down, as if black women and our bodies are the anecdote for the things that go on in our culture, and we're just supposed to suck it up, see the themes, suck it up, and do nothing with it. Like, I have to just say that part. It's so sacrificial.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word. That's the word, and that's what's been passed down
Yes.
generation to
Generation.
generation.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you then wake up or you step up as a black woman and you actually say, well, actually, this doesn't work for me, you're then deemed as the angry black woman that
Yeah.
has it's lawless, and yeah, it's yeah. Stop, pray, and take action. Um, do you think religion has a lot to do with why we are the way that we are?
Yes. Yes, because um, for me personally, I see myself as a spiritual being.
Me too.
Religion is like a full set of rules aimed to, especially the woman, to keep in control, and it stems back from the story of Eve. Like, she was the one that brought sin into the world. No, she wasn't.
Right.
She was connected to her intuition and she had curiosity. But they try to dampen that within the woman, and they will use church to do it. They will use anything that they can, especially the religious part of it, to just dampen and quiet down the woman, shrink the woman down. Like
And why
you're
do you think
below.
it's so important that they do that? Is it because we are the spiritual ones that we hold the power? What is it? Why do we think that it's such work has gone into dampening the woman's spirit? And
Because the patriarchy, which is crumbling, for a long time, it was just led, it was feeding off of women for the satisfaction of men. That's just what it is. Yeah.
It's like the same thing has been done to women, yeah, that colonizers have done to other, like, broadly, this is broadly speaking now, the same thing that's been done to women is the same thing white people did to people of color.
Yeah.
And talking about white supremacy, they're not supreme about nothing, and they know it. Because when they stepped into these other cultures that had all of this stuff going on, all of this cultural infrastructure, they were wowed. We taught them, they were dying in the plague as people that left, Moors left North Africa and Africa, and taught them hygiene, taught them
Yes.
mathematics. Now they've tried to Europeanize it all by saying Socrates and all this rubbish. Socrates was taught by Africans. Anyway, I digress. My point is, the same thing has been done to females. We've been sold this Eve took the apple, and if you're idle, you're going to do like Eve, and you're going to lead us into sin. Because men have always known that without women, yeah, women are a massive part of life, not just the child rearing and all the rest of it. But there is something about us in our essence that is huge, a huge part of a life cycle. Men know that. And so what they've tried to do to control it so that it only benefits them and not women, they've stifled it. And they tried to stifle us in the process.
Yes.
And they still continue. That's what the patriarchy is all about, right? It's
Right.
about individually and collectively men using power to coerce, control, kill, unalive women so that they benefit. And let's,
Abuse. Yeah.
this is the part of the conversation where we have to be real, right? But there are people like the three of us, and there are others. And this is one of the reasons that I love Trisha and this show, is because we keep a machete by the front door at all times, and we're ready to rock when anybody wants to rock with us. Because you have to have that spirit to get through this thing. Like, let's just be 100. Because in every area, patriarchy wants you to be small, wants you to not be your authentic self, wants to embarrass you, wants to control you. These things are, these forms of abuse are there to control us so that we're not our authentic selves. Because innately men know, I don't want to say something like we don't need them, that's rubbish, but they know that we are very powerful creatures, we are very powerful beings, and once we step into that energy, right, that universal essence, there's no stopping us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to balance itself back out. It's so off balance that this is why this work has to be done, because it's so off balance, and the balance has to be restored. It has to be.
That's right.
Right.
And
Natural balance of
women are
things.
doing that right globally. So this is not even like a
Yeah.
race thing. Globally, the 4B, is it the 2B or the 4B movement? Look at Jamaica. Jamaica's population decreases, mash up. Now I don't know if my sister's down there actively saying, "Well, we're not a breed again," But women are voting with their almost with their wombs, right? We're saying we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not doing this anymore. Not doing this
Yes.
dance with you. I would want to be by myself. I'm on social media and I'm seeing women of, when you check their pages, of all ages, ranges, of races, saying, "No, I'm happy being single. I choose the bear." So there is this inaction that women have been responding to hundreds of years of harmful, controlling patriarchy, and they're saying, "Okay, I'm not going to be abused by the thing that I'm going to give birth to, so I'm just going to lock it off.
Just lock it off.
Just lock it
Yeah.
off."
Just check in and say, good evening, Dion. Dion's watching. I just banned someone from the studio because they found a clever way to just say things that are not true in terms of being racist. Daniel's saying, but it will come from white men in particular. They're angry about everything. Women have had to fight on everything, votes, rights, etc., etc. What say you guys to that? Start with you, Eve. Do you think that that's true, or
I mean, I don't. It's not really. That is true, but I don't. I personally don't even want to look at this as a color thing, as a race thing. Um, I just want to keep my focus on this mother wound that needs to be healed to restore balance into the human race. That's where I'm at right now.
with that? Right. What
Mm.
about you, Dee? What do you say to that comment?
I think it becomes dangerous when we start to look at this. There is a time and a place where we have to talk about how race intersects into this conversation, right? Right. But I don't think it's now. And I think, whilst I take Daniel's point, obviously white men are they make up the top 1%, blah, blah, blah. They will have access to more power, opportunity, and so on and so forth. Equally, we are seeing a rise of, and I must make the point, black femicide in our own community here in the UK, up
Right.
by 62% nationally. We don't even make up how much portion of the population, but yet compared to our Asian counterparts and our white counterparts, black femicide is going up, right? Now, the reason I say that is, and this is just in my work as a domestic homicide chair and author, the people that are killing us the most are black men. So it's not, white man coming into the petrol station that is pew, pew, or doing whatever to black women. We are being killed by black men. Often men that we've been in relationships with previously, or that want to come back, or whatever the story is, that's who's predominantly killing black women. So we need not make ourselves feel comfortable when we're gathered here and having a community conversation by saying, "Oh, it's white men over there." No. Black femicide in the UK is up by 62%. And it's black men that are killing black women now. Some people might find that uncomfortable to hear, but those are the stats, and the stats don't lie.
Yeah.
It's a fact. And I also think that some of our men have got issues with their mum, that they've got mother wounds, hence the reason it's then perpetuated back onto us as women in society or partners or whatever the case may be. So the mother wound, because they don't always get it right. They don't. As mothers, I think dads get a really bad. They get it tough. We talk about daddy wounds all the time, but the mother wound is just not discussed enough. And I think there are some instances where, as you said, Eve, it's not about blame. It's not about, sometimes it's just patterns and they've done the best with the tools that they've got. And sometimes, let's be frank, some mums can be just jealous and toxic. And that will cause a wound as well.
That's the comment. That's the comment I came here for, because you see, feminism likes to whitewash everything, and in the process of the whitewashing is the dilution, right? There are some women who just shouldn't have children. There are some women who are intentionally toxic towards their families. There are some women, just as there are men, some women who are intentional with and don't want to. I've worked with mums who were like, you're saying to them, well, listen, Tyrone's a bit off edge because he says this is man number 6 this month that he's bumped fists with as he left his room to go to pee and he's met him on the landing.
Right.
And she's like, well, it's my life. That's Tyrone's business. If he's got a problem with it, he needs to go to his dad because this is my life and I'm young and I'm this and I'm that. And I'm not saying, you see, patriarchy will say, well, as a mother, once you've had a child, you need to lay down yourself and sacrifice the rest of your life to raise these children. So you should never have sexual contact with any other man. So there is a lot of loading onto women around this, right?
Yeah.
But equally, I have met my fair share of women who, because they don't want to do the work on themselves, will say, well, it's my time, so my kids have to suffer. It's my time. I've had mums, Trisha, I've worked in bars, in house parties, and I mean blues house parties. And a child has come and said, but the electric's off. And my mum's inside with so-and-so, can you get my mum? Drag the mum out. Oh, the electric's off. And she's like, what do you want me to do about it? No, well, mum, well, you'll have to wait until I finish.
Inside buying brandy and you've got no electric at the yard.
Yeah, I'm not right. So when we're talking about toxic motherhood, yeah, let us not dilute it in the feminist way to say, oh, it's because of patriarchy. No, individuals make decisions and choices for themselves. And one of the things that I kind of come here to say as well is, we live in the UK. Your fertility and such the like is you're in a country where you have access to basically first world medication. Sometimes it's continual choice to keep on having these children where it's going to buck up and end up in the care system because you already know, say, you feel it no good. And you keep on producing these children with these random different men, right? These things, for me, this is also part of the toxicity of motherhood. Because if you've done it 5 times already and it's not worked out, why are you doing it again?
Because those wounds, the wounding is so deep. It's like there's a bottomless pit of feeling like I'm not enough. So there's this and bottomless pit of some women do that because they've received the programming of, if I have this child for this man, he's going to stay.
Right.
But that's the programming that they've had. That's the patterning that they've had. Like
it hasn't worked
even
out that
though
way.
it doesn't work, it's just it's just there and it just keeps turning on, like auto repeat. It will just keep turning on. And she would just live in denial of that. And it just goes back to the mother wound. Like it just goes back to there. Of her needing to
Yes, they are so AOC. I don't know what that means, but good evening. Thank you for being here. Michelle Singh says, your children shouldn't have to suffer as a consequence of mother's actions and choices. But if mother's actions and choices is just a pattern, then it's by default, they're going to kind of suffer, aren't they?
Also, if we go back to the point about what's modeled and what's mirrored, I work in the care sector with young people, and often the choices that young women will make about their lives are things that they've seen mirrored before. And when you get access and you speak to the parent, you're like, oh, this is where this comes from, because it's been generational. Yeah,
Right.
It's grandma came here and grandma said, listen, me use what's in my front of my to get what I need. So the daughter sees that then his uncle this person, his uncle that person. So she realizes, if I want things in this life, this is how I have to get it.
Yeah.
This is a good way for me to get it. And then she equally produces a child who comes along who might question it, to whom she will say, you're an idiot, we need to go work for when you have man for mine, you. These things, these toxic things are passed down, and these are very much part of sometimes the Caribbean female experience, where it's worked for one, so we assume that it's going to work for all, and it feeds into this mentality where we mirror it to our daughters, and then we wonder why we have a repeat in the same psyche and kind of atmosphere within our community, when it's just, as sister said earlier on, You've seen your mother do it, so you pick it up there. You've seen your mother do it. You might see your grandmother do it and your mother do it at the same time, and you're like, "Rah, this is what it is." So what
Yeah.
we're talking about here, what you're doing here, Trisha, is actually groundbreaking, because we always look at the men, as you've said, and I'm I'm the first person to tell you that men are awful creatures, but equally, and all its parts, this is a big subject. Big subject.
It is.
The door. I'm just gonna go and answer the door.
Good evening, Rosemary Gabidian. Nice to see you, babes. So ratchet behavior didn't just start in the year 2000. Lord, you're too fooled, Daniel. All right, next question back to you, Eve.
Okay.
There's no way we're going to get through all of the questions, but we'll have to do a part 2.
I'm up for it. I'm here.
Yeah, we'll have to do a part 2. Does it affect friendships with other women, like jealousy, comparison, or trust issues? I think you've definitely kind of touched on that, but do mother wounds, does it invoke jealousy and trust issues?
Yes, it does.
Right.
Because it's almost like a status kind of thing, like to say, I've got a man, so I'm like better than you, or I'm better off, I'm provided for.
Yeah, someone chose
me. Someone chose me. I was picked.
Yeah.
A lot of people have heard of pick me shot. That thing is, it runs true. I was
Real.
a pick me shot. I wanted to be picked. So
Right.
if I'm wanting to be picked, and then I've got a sister here, she wants to be picked too. If she's picked, it's just going to make me feel like comparison straight away. Well, maybe she's got bigger breasts than me, or she looks a different way to me, because it's all about the physical. And then jealousy, it just
And then
follows
that's going to breed the jealousy, isn't it? Yeah.
it keeps the pattern. So
Right.
yes, it really does affect the relationships. Even growing up in Caribbean households, there can only be one queen bee,
And that's the mum, isn't it? Yeah.
and that's the mum. So there's already that kind of tension, jealousy, kind of like, you can't be better than me because I'm not. Yeah, already from just that statement alone, that sitting in families goes from generation to generation, and then it does really, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right. Sherry Lies 136 says, we're raised to look after men, however, not to look after ourselves. Personal experience.
Yes, thanks for your personal experience. And it is true, we are. We've got a long list of how to be a good woman, or how to be a good wife, a good partner. Probably top is, you must know how to cook and keep a house, and wash these clothes, and this and that, and look a certain way, and you got this long ass list that misses the point that you're a human, and that you have choice, and you should have autonomy over yourself. That list just misses everything. So you're right. We are taught. Again, it's part of
to put everybody first.
Yeah, it's part of the mother wound, the survival pattern. To be able to survive, we had to be like, you better be a good cook, this, that, so you can keep the man and survive.
Right.
Yeah.
And that directly speaks to your self-esteem, doesn't it? So if you're not, that directly speaks to your self-esteem. But then if you don't meet anybody and you don't get married, that then continues to chip away at your self-esteem, because no one's picked me. So you was raised to do all of these things, and then no one's picked you. So what, like, it's not for you.
Yeah.
Good evening, Davina Sugar Plum. Are you back? Did you have a nice trip? How's it going? Did your baby win? Let us know in the comments. Michelle Singh says, a toxic upbringing can shape how you see yourself, relationships, and the world. It can affect your self worth, boundaries, emotional regulation, and even what feels normal in love and conflict.
Yeah, definitely. Boundaries is a big one as well. Most of us have been taught like that you need to be accessible. You don't have personal space, there's no boundaries. So then you're not taught to have any boundaries, to respect yourself, your personal space, and who you are, and to respect your own no and value your yes when it's delivered. And then you're just pushed out into the world with no boundaries. And
Yeah,
the narcissistic man will just feast on that on you because you've just been pushed out with no boundaries.
But I would like to just add and say one of the reasons that black women are not very good or haven't been is because we were the sexual focus of everybody. White
Yeah,
men could have our bodies at will. Black men could
yeah,
have our bodies at will. I mean, it's just that Asian men have not tried at will. So it's just everybody. Everybody could have access to us when they
yeah,
wanted, and there was never any repercussion for it. You could be raped by your husband. You could then the master would come on the plantation and do exactly the same thing. We produce their children, and there's never been any sanction for it. So I think, when we talk about epigenetics and how trauma is passed down from generation to generation, I think that lack of boundaries within our culture and for us as black women is one of the things that has been passed down, because your thing is never yours.
yeah.
You
Listen,
know, Dion has an expression. No, she's not here with us right now. Dion has an expression where she says, "It's mine." And I always laugh when she says that, and it's the way she says it as well. But one of the reasons that I laugh is because we've only had our own autonomy to our own bodies maybe in the last 30 years.
right.
yeah,
Maybe, and I say maybe in the last
Maybe.
30 years, maybe
Yeah,
in the last 30 years. Men can rape us, beat us, and kill us. You just heard me talk about femicide, and nobody's not doing nothing about it. I've gone all the way to Parliament to ask the Minister for Violence Against Women and Girls, Jess Phillips. I asked her, was she planning to do anything about the upsurge in femicide? And she said, no, we've just funded £30 million to the police, and the police will be doing that work. So do you see what I'm trying to say?
yeah,
What the lesson or the message that comes from that is nobody cares. And worse, nobody's coming to save you. We're not like white women, we're white men. Nobody's coming to save us. There's
exactly.
no large organization that is coming to save black women, which is why sisterhood works for us, because we realize sooner or later we have to do it for each other.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
empower each other, hold each other's hand to be able to break these patterns, to be able to even stand by themselves and know
mm,
that it's okay to stand by yourself. Like you don't need to be looking for a man to support you or anything, or to build structure for your life. You can build that for yourself
100%.
yeah,
because
Having a
you do have a masculine within you. It's just again the whole severing from the body, severing from self. You're not recognizing. I have those qualities within me anyway because
100%.
I have them, but we're just not. That's just not what's taught.
No,
yeah,
It's just not what's taught.
we're not enough.
Yeah,
And we learned that obviously through slavery, colonialism, but it's also these messages have been continued to be perpetrated and pumped out by the institutions that we do have internally in our community, that you
yes,
are not enough. What you need to
yeah,
complete you is a man. Doesn't
yes,
matter how he
exactly.
stays, doesn't matter that he ain't got shit to bring to it, doesn't matter that you're not healed enough to even have the man. So it's not just about the man, it's also about us women not being healed enough. Nobody cared a shit about that. They were just, oh, you need to have a man, it's you're nothing. Or and worse, if you can't have pitney, my God,
Woo!
what kind of woman are you that
Yeah,
yeah,
you don't want and you can't have? Lord God. Look in our culture, how women who are barren, look how we make she barren, it's a whole thing for us,
yeah.
because that's
I
the
get
only value
judged
that we
a lot
bring.
and by women for not wanting to not having kids.
I've told you a million times.
A
Anytime
lot.
you want to borrow a cane, I'm sure Natalie's got one. We can lend you one each. Yeah, you don't want to take up the offer though. I've noticed this is not the first time I'm offering her the use. She doesn't want him. Make up your mind,
I
Trisha.
should
What is
just
it? I've
go
got one I could give you.
Sherry, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Sherry's 136 who said we're too used to settling. I agree. Rosemary said yes, it's the plate we're served until we realise that we have to scrape stuff off the plate to rise and strive.
Yeah.
Davina said, no, still here, just got from a long day with Disney Springs, out by the pool, soaking up the sun, team coming with a bronze medal. Oh, that's good.
Oh,
Oh, that's really good. I'm going to
Oh,
message you privately. Beyond proud of my baby. The rest of the ladies, they worked damn hard through the injuries, etc., but well deserved. Oh, good for her.
I
I'm
thought she was
glad they
showing
did
off.
something
Sorry,
anyway.
Davina, for the yawning. I thought you were showing off, talking about pool and all these things. But yeah, I get to find out it was talking to you.
No. She's watching us all the way from Florida. This is one of our No Bravado members, and she always tunes in.
Yeah, she
She's
does.
in Florida supporting her baby, and she's still here watching our show and commenting, and I love her for it. So thank you for being here, sugar.
thank
Um,
you.
bless you. Right. So yeah, it does. Do you think some mothers are actually in competition with their daughters? We've touched on that, but
Yes. In a sense, they can't help it because, like you said before, with the "I'm not enough." If the woman has that pattern, that programming of "I'm not enough," you can't have your daughter coming up to try and outshine you. And I've seen that where mothers will pick the man or pick the son over the daughter or do a whole heap of different things because they cannot have the daughter outshine them or shine their light on them because it will show them up. And sometimes it's not even like it's a conscious thing. That's what I was talking about earlier on in terms of the use of hypnosis, because sometimes it's not a conscious thing. Like these women are doing these things and kind of knowingly doing these things are sitting in their subconscious mind.
yeah,
Yeah, and they're programs that are sitting in the subconscious mind, and they're just acting out of that space.
right.
It's not, yeah, it's not to say, oh, it's like I'm condoning it, but I'm just explaining what's happening to that woman that has got this competition with their daughter. It's just a wound, and then they're acting out of it.
Right. Michelle
I've seen
Singh
a
says,
lot of it.
as a
Sorry.
go on,
No,
go on.
I've seen a lot of this, especially in terms of domestic abuse and violence, where
Right,
especially if mum is or has been a victim, and didn't go and get support but lived through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
right,
Often there is a sharp jealousy when the daughter manages to get advocacy and help and all these things that are available now that weren't then.
Yeah,
I have seen almost a reenactment of a different form of abuse from the mother, where you're almost getting away with it. We've had instances where when we're going through chronologies, it's mum that's run up the abusive partner and told them where the daughter's moved to.
no,
Yes,
oh wow,
ooh,
yes.
yeah,
And when you question, well, so why would you do that? Well, your daughter's been whisked away with the grandchildren, whatever the case is, to another part of the world, another part of England. Why would you do that? Well, you had a right, because when you had. So again, this is probably why I'm one of the biggest things about toxic motherhood, because as much as we and men are nasty and disgusting, but as the same level, I have seen women actively participate
yes,
in forms of violence, right? It might not be physical, but forms of violence towards their children. I've worked with a mum who her daughter was fat. Again, going back Jamaican heritage. She was I'm fat, she's fat, but she was a young girl. And in talking, doing that kind of thing that we do as an organization where we do that family recovery piece, the mother sit down and said, then the way you go, look as hot as me. She said me 50 buff. At the time, she was 50 and a little bit of change. And she's like, when we walk in, the man, them still want me. And look at you, you keep yourself. And she just had this whole,
Yeah.
her whole value to herself was on her body and the way that she kept her looks. And because her daughter was fat, and the daughter was picking up on these messages, as we've said before, so mum would drop this, you're fat and you're ugly and you look like your dad's people. And I've put in the chat and here in the studio, colorism also plays its part. The amount of mothers I've worked with who, if they're brown, but they produce a dark-skinned daughter, this is a huge problem in our community that we don't talk about the level of mother wound that a lot of dark-skinned black women carry, because often their mother might be lighter or their grandmother might be lighter or they might have the longer hair, all of these things that we've texturisms. And when they've had a child that hasn't turned out to be that, you are constantly receiving messages that you are not good enough, you are not what we hoped for, you're not the best version, look at you, nobody will want you, you're black like this, your head picky like that. These are all part of mother wounds, because this messaging is mostly repeated by women and not men in our community.
And as you said in the studio chat, it comes from colonialism. So so then that's
but we uphold. So rather than saying, well, hold on a minute, it's now I'm hearing black women say, well, it's our hair, it's our crown. When I was little, I remember measuring plaits in the playground. Let's just have it as it is. Even this weekend, someone said, oh, how long have you had your locks? And I said 8 years. And they said, but it's really long. You must have good growing hair. Do you see what I'm trying to say? That conversation was between me and another woman. Which goes to my point that often these adages, these toxic motherhood pieces are upheld by women within the community structure who repeat these things. Man, she black like what? Then I wish man would take that up. These are look at her head dry, you see? And then you again, that's another message you receive, that you're not good enough, you're not, you have no value, nobody will want you.
So going back to what you were saying, Eve, in terms of not even having the awareness, is this where you would say, if you're talking to somebody who's upholding all of these types of values, would you just say, well, if you heard someone talking like what Donna was just saying, would you at this point say it's not even worth it?
Yeah. It's not. You have to have the awareness. You have to be able to take that step to look at yourself. Like, people just shovel that stuff in the darkness. Like, to look at the steps that you've taken to be where you are today, you have to be able to look at that, look at it, and learn to love that, learn to appreciate that. Then you can move forward. But if someone's not even going to look back and understand why they're where they are today, it just can't work. Because a part of my work, when I work with women, I'm taking them back using hypnosis, and I'm taking them back into their childhood to find out where these patterns started from. But I can't take a woman back if she's not in awareness of that. Something needs the attention here. I need to look at something here. Like, it's time now to stop these patterns. It's not worth it. And some women they're not doing the work, but they're having the daughters, and the daughters are coming up, and they're still trying to keep the daughters quiet because they're afraid of doing the work on themselves. But the children that we're having now, you got to be careful, because they're not they've not been censored in a similar type of way. They've got a different voice. They've got social media, so they're the ones that are the triggers now to hopefully help some of these women, trigger them into having the awareness to look at themselves and look at what they've done. And
Yeah.
I speak from experience. As I said before, I was a Pygmeisha. That was who I was. And there's no
Right.
way I could be where I am right now, helping women, if I didn't stop and look at my own patterns and accept that I was a Pygmeisha. I can sit here and say that. There's no shame, there's no nothing in what I'm saying, because I accept that that's the road that I was walking on. But I'm not walking
Yeah.
on that road anymore. But it came from the awareness, and I had to look and I had to accept it.
Accept it.
Yeah.
Donna said in the private chat, not doing the work and still having daughters is a book within itself. But yeah,
Mhm.
we're gonna definitely have to do a couple of parts to this because it's already 9:30, and I think I've got 26 questions for you, and I think I'm on question 6 or 7. But Michelle Singh said, the beautiful Michelle Singh says, and as a result, unfortunately, many find comfort in toxicity and identify love as pain. So if you don't bring pain, it may question if it's actually love. That's a huge one. The
Yeah.
struggle, painful love that unless we're crying on our pillow and your heart feels like it's being ripped out of your chest, it's not love. It's not
Yeah.
me. What soft life though, and soft love, I'm not in it. But yeah, that's a huge pattern.
Yeah.
Cheryl, Cherylize, I, what do you guys think? Because how do you think this is being pronounced? Cherylize,
Cheryl Eyes
Cherylize.
136.
Yeah, okay. Some mothers are threatened by their daughters. I could write a book. Richard Trantard 9244. We're supposed to nurture children and get them ready for adulthood. Absolutely, but it doesn't happen. It just depends on the upbringing and the patterns that your people have. Do you know what I mean? Good evening, Jenny Sunshine. How you doing, Bubs? Michelle says trauma brings chaos, and if there isn't chaos in a relationship, they may be able to attach security because you are not creating chaos because they come from a household of toxicity. 100% many lived experiences. Oh, hang on, let me show it. Many lived experiences with mothers' competitiveness and playing siblings against each other based on what they look like. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of the cycle right there. Apologies for my grammar typing fast. So, so paramount to having a period of healing and stillness. Yeah, it is. It is paramount, and I think a lot of us are waking up to that. Um, So I've asked, can it impact romantic relationships even though it's about your mum? And I think that's going to be a resounding yes.
Yes, it can.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah. Your first experience of connection, and emotional safety, shapes how you relate to intimacy. And if you have a mother that has modeled, mirrored an unsafe experience, then and normalized it as well. It's the
right,
normalization of these things that it's just normal. Then you will go out there and you will just have the same normal relationship. Some of us, I know I felt this always felt this underlying uneasy feeling in relationships. I thought that was normal, that I was
right,
supposed to feel this underlying anxious feeling in relationships.
right. So
And that,
you always had that, but
yeah, and I thought that
but
that was normal, because
okay,
then that's where you get the heart wrenching toxic connection with this other person because it feeds into what has been normalized within me.
Yeah. So we then start picking patterns as opposed to
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So yeah, I get it. I get it.
You're not, you pick this man, or you're in this relationship with this man, and then this one. They all made, the three of them may look different, but they've all got the same energy.
Same energy, same traits. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I know I definitely pick. Well, let me rewind that, take that out of the universe. I used to pick men that had very similar traits to my dad. It just seemed to be, one of them even had the same birthday as my dad. It was like, oh my god, how can it get any clearer that you're picking a pattern here? Like same day. Anyway, I digress. You talk about the link between motherhood wound and money. How does the relationship with your mum affect your ability to earn or keep money?
Yes. Money's a big one. And the feeling of I'm not enough plays a part in that. Money is an energy. I believe that money is an energy, and it will only come and stay if you feel safe within yourself to hold it and keep it, and allow it to grow. So it's deeply connected to how safe you feel again with receiving,
Yeah,
or if it was modeled to you that love or approval felt like it was conditional growing up, you can carry that into the money, without even realizing it. You can carry things.
Big
yeah. I think for me, um, my mum, freaking excellent mum, no dad, raised me and my three brothers. So we definitely grew up where money didn't grow on trees. So she would definitely like make sure that we never went hungry. We always had clothes, food, everything. And I think sometimes my mum would go with that. I remember us going to a wedding and her wearing something old, but she made sure that we all had something new to wear, if that made sense. But with coming from where she came from and the struggles that she had, she became really appreciative of the things that she was able to amass. But I look at it now like a scarcity mindset, if that makes sense. So it's like really really attached to things that because I worked hard for them, so she's proud of them, she takes care of them. But like, or it's very kind of funny with money, like, but if you let it circulate, because like you said, money is an energy, it's going to come back to you anyway. So we
Yeah,
don't have to hoard it or we don't have to hold on to it because
yeah,
that's like a scarcity kind of mindset, and that kind of keeps it from flowing.
yeah.
Um, and but what I love about my mum is that I'm able to have this conversation with her, and she's able to say, "Okay, I hear you. I see you. Like, let it go. Let it flow. Like, we don't have to hoard. We're not in that part where you're struggling to look after us anymore. That season's gone. So we're all right now. We're safe now. We can let the money just circulate and don't be afraid to spend it because it's going to return. Don't worry about it.
Mm,
And I'm not saying to be careless with money. You've got to respect it at the same time. But at
mm.
the same time, you can't be frightened that you're not going to have it. Not you won't. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
it's been ingrained. There is a definite disconnect with us as women and our money. We're not even having conversations with our money. How we're not even recognizing that we should be having a relationship with our money. And this does stem back to the dowry, which is deep rooted. Our value and worth was attached to this dowry. You're only worth what
What
your family,
buying
yeah,
for?
yeah. And that's still woven in, it's still at play within us with our relationship with money.
I see this a lot in the consultative field where, you know, we know as black consultants, whether depending on our area and our discipline, but it's something that I speak a lot about with my peers. So, take for instance, last year there was a conference. Three of us were leading on speaking at this conference, right? Now
Mm.
we've been brought in because of our expertise, the level of our expertise, and we're delivering 2 workshops each for this conference. And there is a white woman leading it, and so we're having this, basically like a prep meeting, and she says with her whole chest, well, this will be 4 grand plus the VAT. She's speaking, she's not even doing 2 workshops, she's speaking for a certain amount of time, right? And it's funny, me and the other sister, we both said on the Teams call, no, what I'll do is I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you with what my price is. But we know each other differently. So we had a phone call. She's like, I don't know what to charge. But when I heard it was the 4 grand, I thought, my God, just, we have the relationship. And I'm glad we're talking about the relationship between
Yeah.
knowing and understanding your value. Now, I know on most given days, but especially Tuesdays between 3 and 3:15, any one of the areas that I'm an expert, I walk in the room, I am the expert in the room. But that doesn't often reflect sometimes when it comes to payment. I've pressed many a send key with half eye clause because
Right.
even though I know my value, I'm not sure if they see my value.
Right.
Will they come back and say, oh, Donna, that's too much. We can only afford this. Do you understand? So it's
Yeah.
really good that we talk about it because there is this overall feeling of, and I think dowries and these bride prices and all of these things do play a massive part in how a woman is seen and valued. But it's something with us, it's part, again, it's a cultural adage where we don't know our value and we don't always stand straight on it. And
Yeah.
so we have tended to stick to professions and spaces where we're paid monthly because that's fine. But when we venture out into independent loan working spaces, we're not too hot at it because we don't charge our worth.
Yeah. That's a journey as well. I had to go on. I'm an artist as well. And I remember I started at market stalls with my artwork. And I had a piece of artwork. I think it was like £300. And for me to actually, say, all right, this is £300 or 250 or something like that. It took a lot for me to stand by the price of my work because I had to look at the value, look at all of the time, the love and the effort that I put into this piece of work. And I had to stand by the value. And I did have, people come by and just be like, nah, they're not seeing the value. And I had to say, a man picked it up and he was like, oh, this ain't worth it. And I said, well, it's not worth it for you, but it's going to be worth it for someone else. Just put it down. So
Yeah. Right.
I didn't shrink myself, but that's the tendency for women that instead of holding to the value, I am of value and I've produced something of value, or I'm giving a service of value, and this is what it is, tend to shrink down.
Yeah.
You shrink down rather than, no, I'm going to hold on to this value because I know what I'm bringing or what I've created is of value. And I had to do that even in this therapy work as well. Like people
Yeah.
are like, oh, it's quite expensive. Yeah, but I'm offering transformation. So
Yeah.
you're going to be living from the transformation for the whole of your life. There's no going back to where you was before because it's a transformation.
And then
It's release. You can't put price on the letting go and the release of these and the breaking of these cycles. You can't really put a
Yeah.
price on it because it's something that you're going to carry on for the rest of your days.
Yeah. And I can vouch and say I've done a session and it was nothing like what I expected. Things came up, you literally genuinely you felt it in your body when it was coming up, and yeah, it helped me to look at how to the layers that we hold and how to just generally just get rid of them as opposed to holding. Those things turn into cancers and all
Yeah,
kinds of health issues that we don't need, just by picking up and carrying patterns and traumas that we don't know how to get rid of, or we haven't been given the tools to get rid of. But not to ignore the comments. Michelle Singh says the problem is most don't like to take the break or heal or self-reflect, and the reason why is when you're in solitude, your soul forces your deep-rooted issues in your life to surface that you need to address, that you don't want to but have to.
yeah,
Yeah. A lot
yeah,
of us, if we haven't got the tools to deal with that, then you just end up repeating the cycle anyway.
yeah,
Um, remember when you're in solitude, you're forced to deal with your demons, your trauma, your pain. Yeah, definitely. I've been through my solitude, I tell you that. Cheryl Eyes 136 said some of our parents do share the importance of money. They do share the importance of money, nor support their children to succeed. They would see them struggle. I think
Yeah,
she's
I
trying to say
think
they don't share the
yeah,
importance of
yeah,
money,
yeah,
nor support their children to succeed. They would see them struggle.
yeah.
I agree. That does
mm,
happen. Um, Michelle's clapping at probably a comment that's made. All right, we've got just 10 minutes. We're going to definitely have to do a part two. This was such a good show. I'm getting private texts with people saying, excellent show, great topic. Obviously, something that was needed. So, well done, ladies. Thanks for coming on. And I'll make sure us three will arrange a part two. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Um,
yes.
why do some women sabotage themselves just as things start going well financially?
What do
Um,
you believe?
we all like um, that familiar place, and maybe that's where they feel safe.
In the
Um,
struggle.
mm?
In the struggle. So we feel safe in the struggle. Some women feel safe in the
Yeah,
struggle.
yeah,
And that
because
goes back to
yeah,
patterns.
yeah, because it's familiar, and the mind loves familiar. The
And
mind would just keep replaying the familiar.
that's right.
So often when things start to go well, it can bring like almost like this internal pressure, like and you're almost like you're saying to yourself, I'm not safe here to hold this. I'm not safe with this level of financial freedom that I've reached to. I'm
Right.
not safe, even to go out in the community, because if you've gone up another level of financial security, um, you may change your car. Then you're gonna get people like, because you change your car, you might
Right.
wear different clothes. You might now turn to doing your nails all the time or something like that, and people will look at you sideways. And sometimes you just that pressure of being able to stand in that wealth is too much, and you just revert back to the familiar.
I also think that famous line that money is the root of all evil,
Oh,
I
mm,
think that plays a huge part in how we see money and ourselves with it. Um, and I do money affirmations every day because I am not trying to hear it right now. Money is the root of joy and comfort. Money is the root to
yes,
life.
yes,
Just trying to
yeah,
debunk. But if you say money is the root of, people are going to finish the root of all evil, and it's
yeah,
not. People are people. Money is an energy. It's a tool. I think money brings out your 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 personality.
mhm,
I think it's down to you. If you make money, then turn around and make you murder or be dishonest, then that's you. That's not the money.
Yeah.
It's just something to blame. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think some of these types of programs that have been given to us through religion or just through parenting and so on and so forth, I do think that that has a lot to do with how we are with money, and it speaks to our self-worth and what we think we deserve.
Yeah. It's still sitting there because men still earning more than women in certain places,
Yeah,
or even in the family dynamics. You can't have
Mm.
the man has to be earning more than the woman, or to make up for the not earning the same. If the woman is earning more than the man, then to make up for that is domestic abuse. You get
yeah,
abused. You get belittled to try and bring you back down to account for the difference financially. I've personally been through that.
yeah,
So yeah, money is a beautiful energy. It is a beautiful thing. If everyone was honest with themselves and they had the money that they deserve and desire, um, everyone would be happier. Do you know what I mean? We'll be able to circulate the money and everyone will be much more happier. Do you know what I mean?
I have
Like,
a slightly different perspective on this, where um women in family settings have been expected to use their um their financial acumen to save male members of the family. I know of two families where in particular the eldest daughter, who's done all right for herself compared to the rest of the sibling grouping, has been coerced to the extent by the family of she should use her ability and the fact that she has more money to save younger, errant, more careless, reckless behavior, financial behavior on the
yeah,
part of male siblings, and that she should do that to keep the family together. And this has come from the parents. This has come from, this is what you need to do. And again, it goes back to my earlier point about that sacrifice piece that surrounds very much the contextual mother wound that a lot of black women have, where you're supposed to die and everybody else is supposed to walk on your back in order to get to the other side.
yeah,
Nobody cares that you've drowned in the process of the walking across your back. But there's an
yeah,
expectation, especially in certain Caribbean families, that the daughter must suffer for the son. Well, he's your brother and he can't, and so yeah, I see this again, this strong repeated messaging that you have no value unless you are of service to your family. Seems to be a theme running through this. It's fine for you to have money, it's fine to have positive affirmations, but unless that's in use for your family, then it has no value. It should be
yeah,
used. If my wife earns more, then she should be spending that on. It's almost like it has to be said. We know that if your wife earns more, you know, this is part of the conversation of being part of a couple. And I think it stems from a place of a lot of us as women, we've only really had financial literacy on the agenda, like in the top 5 in the last. If we think in 1974, my mum, as the year I was born, my mum couldn't have got a bank account without my father's say so. Right.
right,
That equally means that at that time, my grandmother, who had been in this country by then nearly 20 years, couldn't have got a bank account without my grandfather. So we talk about financial literacy and we're talking about finances and all of these things. It's only of recent, and that would have been white women that would have gone and got the bank account in 1974. Black women, maybe 81. Let's just have it as it is in terms of normalized, progression in society. It would have been the 80s before our mums, our grandmothers would have had a little bank book, the little bank book they used to put the writing in and the writing how much was left. So
yeah,
we have to equally, as much as it is a mother wound, I would also like to insert that equally we must give ourselves grace, because in the long stream of time, women have only really had financial or access and opportunity to financial betterment in me and your lifetime, in the 3 of us lifetime,
yeah,
right? Which is
right,
which is not that long ago. So we talk about mortgages and value. We're only just now learning.
Learn, yeah,
through
yeah,
business. Do you understand? Through business, through opportunities. More time black women did factory work. We did the menial jobs. So understand, we know how to save. Nobody can't save. I say if a black woman save, she save a half, she save quarter penny out of a half penny. But what to do with it and how to make it work for her so that she enjoys it, I think that has to be part of part 2. And that's part of the mother wound. Because I go back to my point. Often when we excel and we do well, the expectation from the family is because you are the girl child, you should sacrifice that and give
Mm-hmm.
back to the family. And
Yes.
you could have an equally successful brother. That is not the conversation that will be held with him. That is he earned money. He worked for it.
right,
When you're the
Yeah.
girl, you're expected to bail out your family all
Yes.
the time.
all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. There's again back to boundaries. There is no boundaries. You're just supposed to leak everything out. Your energy, your time, your money, just leak that out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to stop it there because it's 5 to 10. We could be here for a good 4 hours. I'll stop it here, and what I'll do is I will talk to you guys about when's the next available date that we can all meet again, and we'll
Yeah.
do a part 2. I'm getting loads of messages. People are saying part 2 is needed. Mitchell concurs. I've got a few messages on my phone. People saying excellent show, definitely needs to continue. They want to see a part 2. So well done, ladies. I'm really proud of this show. I'm really glad that you came on, Eve. And yeah, we
Thanks
definitely
for
will
having me.
do.
I'm so grateful for you having me, welcome me on. I'm so grateful. And thank you
Yeah,
for all of the
you can't
viewers as
see it.
well. Thank you for all the
Sorry.
live viewers, your
Yeah,
comments, your energy, your presence. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of the people that are going to be watching this in the replays as well.
yeah,
I appreciate you all, and to you both as well. Thank you so much for
it's amazing.
holding this space and welcome me in this space. This is
Yeah,
like officially like my first podcast moment. So I'm really, really grateful. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
yeah, we'll definitely put it out and put adverts out to let you know when part 2 is going to be coming. But Kemi, tell them where to find you, Eve. Kemi, where to find you on Facebook, what the name of your business is. Give a little quick recap of what it is that you do, and then I'm going to put it in the group as well so that people can find you. So
Okay, so it's at Khemi Love. That's KHEMI and good old LOVE Love. Khemi Love. Um, I'm a healer. I love to work with women to help them to heal their mother wound. I use a beautiful tool, Rapid Transformational Therapy. Um, I use Reiki as well, journaling, art prompts. I use all these different tools to be able to support and help women on their healing journey, to give you access to your voice, to give you access to you, to help you to be your authentic self and break these chains. So thank you again for having me.
thank you for coming on. It's been a really good show, and I'm looking forward to part 2. My sister, Donna, you
What
said the
man?
message made you cry,
Yeah, man. The message was deep.
but it's
Yeah.
true.
No, the big
For
up
this
was that.
reason,
No, can I just
look at
say?
what you've come on here and done every time. Always just
No, man. That was it. Yeah, it was a lot of love over the weekend, and people. You know what it's like. Like your birthday. Um, for me is my reset. So my new year has started on Friday.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can I
yeah.
Mine
just
started
say
like that.
it's not it's
Yeah.
not it's not started well. It's not you can hear the voice. Whoa, it's not started well. Um, but yeah, it made me cry, Chishan. There's nothing but love for yourself
Yeah, I
as a
know.
person and your mum, and the no bravado thing. I think as soon as I saw this, I told you this is it. This is the ticket. This is what we need to be talking about, right? In
Yeah.
terms of parity, we need to be also talking about mother wounds and toxic motherhood, because it exists, and
It
it's
does.
very much out there. We don't like to name it because everything is men's fault. But equally, there is a position to be had around this. So I want to say, thank you for the opportunity. It was lovely to meet you, Eve.
Lovely to meet you too.
And I can't wait for the part 2. I'm not
It
surprised that
will be
people
a
are popping off
positive.
your phone, because I know this is the one.
Yeah.
This is it. Because so many people are victims of toxic motherhood and don't have the space to talk about it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I knew this was going to be it. I'm just out here in these streets. Do you know, on the way to work, I got chatted up by some Sri Lankan cab driver. So now, at the beginning of my 52nd year of going around God's son, yeah, I'm now attracting Sri Lankans. This thing is really dropping off of shape. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just I'm just out here working. I've got my house quarters. I'm just out here working and doing all the other stuff that I do. But there's Anos on Thursday. It's a celebration of 10 years of my small social enterprise and the
Okay.
impact it's made for the borough of Croydon. So that's going to be on Thursday night down at the Selhurst Railway Club, which is where we started. So anybody that wants to come, it'll be
Send
good.
me the details so I can put it in the
I
group
will
as well.
do. I will
Yeah.
do. Yeah, thank you.
All right. With that said, so much gratitude for you all, for you both. It's been amazing for all of you in the group, in the live chats. The group has been amazing. It's growing. It at least one post a week is starting to go viral now. At least one, and group members never fail us. I just love No Bravado and everything that it stands for, and our group members, live watchers, you all make it. So thank you so much for being here and for helping us to build and grow. It means a lot. It really does. And I will do a proper like part 2 come in with clips, and then I'll put the dates out once we agree the dates. But yeah, thanks guys for being here,
Thank
and
you.
I'll see you next week. No bravado, massive. Okay. All right. Take care, guys.
See you.
See you. Bye bye.